Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in to Lunch with Haley. We'll get started here in a few minutes. I just opened up the webinar, so we still have people flowing in. So we'll wait to kick things off in a minute. But as we're waiting, I want to throw a question out there to everyone. What are you seeing in the market right now? So in the Q&A, let us know what you're experiencing in the market, and want to see if it aligns with what we're hearing in the market. We're hearing some slowdowns. We're hearing a little longer hiring process. We're hearing that the end employer has taken longer to make a decision. So really interested to see what you're hearing in your market and your industry. So drop that in the Q&A. Oh, I like this, Valley. Valley's seeing improvement. That's perfect. I'm curious. I'm wondering if that's just in the, I know Valley, you're in the legal sector. I'm wondering if that's tied to legal or other areas, but glad to hear that. So what's everybody else hearing? What are you seeing in the market? What are you hearing from clients? Drop that in the Q&A, and then we'll kick things off here in a few minutes. Oh, excellent. Biotech industry doing well, seeing some improvement there. Fantastic. JJ reports we're getting more requests for raises. It's interesting. I'm hearing a little bit of that too. Hearing this across the board in commercial construction from our partners as well. Sought after industry. A few other people have noted they're starting to see a little bit of a slowdown. Clients who had high volume are cutting back slightly. Office is slowing down a little bit. Commercials still good. A little bit of slowdown in manufacturing and distribution. Don't know if it's tied to the holidays. All right, good. All right, well, let's kick things off. I thank everyone for sharing. Oh, here's another one that just came in. Kristen reports not seeing any slowdowns in Canada in 2024 so far. That's great to hear. Excellent. All right, so to kick things off, today's episode, today's session is all about maximizing impact. We're going to talk about a strategic formula for high performance and how to really level up your marketing function in 2024. My name's Brad Smith. I'm the Chief Strategy Officer here at Haley Marketing Group. I've had the pleasure of working in the staffing industry for 20 years now and work with some amazing organizations and some amazing leaders of really innovative staffing companies. And joining me is Jeff Stats. Jeff, you want to do a quick intro?
Yeah, sure. I'm Chief Marketing Officer here. You should get that 20-year Rolex or something like that. I think you
Right?
got to make sure that you get that. That's a milestone
Right?
for industry, let alone anything else. So, yeah, I've been in the staffing industry about I think 7 years. Started at in staffing at least at Able, which is now Bullhorn Onboarding. Went on the staffing side for Talent Launch and was head of marketing for Talent Launch, working with a bunch of different brands under our umbrella, and then been with Haley for almost 3 years now. Really focusing on the fractional CMO side of the business as well as automation.
It's terrific. Yeah. And Jeff is going to have some great insight today because, like he just mentioned, as a fractional CMO for a lot of staffing companies, he has the opportunity to hear what's going on in different industries, in different markets, in different sectors, large staffing organizations and medium to smaller size staffing organizations too. So we're hopefully going to share some great insight for you today. All right, to kick things off, I know I asked everybody on the call to share what they're seeing in the market, and it was mixed. I'm really excited and happy to hear that many are seeing some growth, and 2024 is off to a fast start for some. Others have reported, especially in the light industrial space, that people are taking time to put in orders. It's been slow over the last month or so. We generally see that over the holidays, starting to pick back up a little bit, but wanted to start things off by just sharing what is being shared in the industry. And yesterday's Staffing Today was interesting to me. Every article shared a little bit of outlook on what's happening. So one of the articles was a publicly traded staffing company, Staffing 360 Solutions, reporting their third quarter results. And just wanted to share some of the things that were said. So overall, they were down 4% compared to the previous quarter. And in constant currency, that's a decrease of 5.5%. Uh, and the chairman or chief executive officer shared that their third quarter results reflect the continued uncertainty that has been characteristic of the employment sector. Clients are remaining cautious about their hiring needs and the economy. That corroborates some of the feedback that we got about people taking their time to put in orders or a little bit more hesitant. He went on to say, as a result, they're facing many of the same challenges as other staffing firms, especially in light industrial. Workers' comp costs are going up. And one of the challenges that I'm seeing and hearing across the market is weaker perm placement or direct hire. So last year, that was a really strong area of many staffing companies' businesses. That was great, and that was going to the bottom line. That was terrific. Those are starting to slow down a little bit. So we're starting to see some decrease there. And when I hear in the industry that many staffing companies are down, 5 to 10%, I think a lot of that is tied to that decrease in perm or direct hire placement fees. What else we seeing? Online labor, it's dropping a little bit. So it dropped in December. There was a 0.7 month over month decrease from November to December. Again, that holidays can play into that, but the more concerning one to me was the overall index is down 14% from a year ago. So we are seeing that decrease. And then the last article in yesterday's Staffing Today was about small businesses and wrapping up with minimal hiring gains. So there still was an increase, which is great, but only 0.69%. And what they found was 23% of small companies increased their hiring. So a little less than a quarter. 60% made no change to their headcounts, and 17% reduced employment totals. So if we're going after those medium to small size companies, pool shrinking. We've only got 23% that are actively out there hiring. So we're going to run into more competition. They're going to be called on by more staffing companies, more staffing sales reps. So I wanted to share that because I think it ties in perfectly to today's agenda. We're going to talk about how to build a marketing engine in 2024. And I don't want to limit that to just marketing, because there's such a convergence now between marketing and sales. So I want to rethink that a little bit. And when we think about marketing, what we're going to talk about today and reinforce today is how there needs to be alignment between marketing and sales, and how we need to focus our efforts to drive growth and profitability this year. So, Jeff, I mentioned at the start, and you mentioned that you're the outsourced CMO for a lot of staffing companies out there. What are you hearing right now? What questions are you getting? What are they concerned about?
Yeah, I think it's interesting. It's I've in talking with a lot of staffing firm owners, like either through the automation side of the business or just the fractional side, it's kind of a weird year. Like, I think every year it's always like, okay, what is my marketing team going to look like? What's the unicorn hire I need to make? Or like, should I even, hire marketing right now? You usually get those questions, especially over the last like 3-4 years in staffing. What's interesting now is the questions seem to be getting more precise, more around just this whole AI thing. So I think some of these that are on the screen right now, your usual, which is how should my marketing function be set up in 2024? I think it's funny because normally the first hire is, the social media coordinator, because that seems to be the hire, especially in smaller staffing firms. Like, well, we got to get, more active on social media. So that's always the first one. That's always been there, but now it's even like, okay, I don't even want to protect that side of my marketing. Like, what do we need to do? And I think the whole to your point around sales and marketing and how, driving sales is still a priority right now, and using marketing to do that. I think that's causing everybody to really rethink and say, okay, if I were to do it over, what does marketing look like? So we're getting that question.
Hmm.
And then the next two, we're getting the usual, like, how will AI affect my team? And how should marketing use AI? I mean, it's one of those, like, I've had questions, and pretty blunt questions, from owners saying, like, do I need this role if I can use AI? And then, the follow up is, or could somebody on my team, should they be using AI? And so it's starting to really think, and I think we have a graph later on where, it's like, what can AI do? What can marketing do? And I know in other presentations, it's, AI is not going to replace jobs. It's going to it may replace the poor performing, but if the, mediocre, the kind of B player can use marketing, that makes them an A player. If the rock stars, or AI, if the rock stars using AI, it makes them even better, and just that much more efficient and productive. So those questions, and then the usual questions that I'm getting more around value. How do I know that my marketing team's working on the right things, that I'm getting value, that I know what's working and what's not? And I think this is a normal question, but again, I'm getting more of these questions around, like, what do I need to do? How do I need to set up reporting? What does it look like, around, productivity? Again, going to that AI. Now that AI has really not opened up the fact that it's AI. It's really, okay, now this, you know, Johnny can do the job in 4 hours, but if AI can do it in 4 minutes, 4 seconds, whatever, then do I need that? So you're getting a lot of those. And then, yeah, how can marketing do more for the sales team? I think now's got to be the time that marketing and sales really talk to each other as, like, best friends, and not like frenemies or anything like that. I mean, it really, in doing the presentations around sales and marketing, it now more than ever, marketing can be such a huge support factor and amplifier to the sales process. If you're not looking at your marketing team or your marketing function or your outsourced marketing help to support the sales side of the business, you have to be. It's almost a necessity now, because I think there's so many opportunities around automation and around IDM, and I know we'll go into some of that stuff. And then, the usual question, how do I show ROI? I think this question's coming from all the technology. I think tech stacks are still super bloated. I think that, you know, it's really around, like, okay, what do I need to do, to really, you told me I need this, automation platform, or this tech, this chatbot. What do I need to do to show ROI, and what can you tell me to make it work? And it really all revolves around goals. Like, I think that's one of the things, I know, Brad, you're going to touch on this now,
Yeah.
but, like, is marketing really supporting the business goals?
Yeah, Jeff, I'm hearing and getting a lot of these same questions too, a lot around
Yeah.
AI. And I get the same question from recruiters, like, hey, is AI going to replace the recruiter? And my take
Yep.
is, no, it's not going to replace the recruiter, but it's going to replace the recruiter that doesn't use it, if that
Yep.
makes sense.
Or
So,
they just don't understand that it's there. I think
yes.
that's the other thing. I mean, it's you've got, use it. Like, don't be afraid. Like, I feel like it's like AI is like automation 6 years ago. Like, I'm so afraid to like use it. Like, it's really cool.
Yeah.
Like, you can do a lot of things that makes you a better performer, better, employee and producer.
And as you were talking about the tech stack, one question that I do constantly hear is, what should I start? What should I stop? And what should I continue with? So
Yep.
I get that a lot. And your point, I think, really resonated with me, because a lot of that is tied to the tech stack. Do I really need this expense, especially as costs are going up? So I think companies, staffing companies, are looking at ways that they can trim expenses. And then on the flip side of that, the follow-up question I always get too is, what are other staffing companies doing that we're not? So
Right.
we'll
Oh
dig.
yeah, I forgot
Yeah.
about that one. That's almost like so common that I
Yes.
forgot to put it on the list.
Right. Yeah. But we'll share some of those things in today's presentation. But as Jeff just mentioned, one thing that we really want to drive home is when you're thinking about marketing and sales investments, we really need to think about ROI. So how do we determine whether what we're doing is impactful and effective and is leading us down the right path? And what I'd encourage everybody to do, and encourage your sales team and your sales reps to do, is think about company goals and reverse engineer those. A lot of times when we kick off a marketing engagement, I'll ask our client and I'll say, "All right, what's your goal for this year?" And Jeff, when you ask what's your goal for the year, what do you usually get? What answers do you usually hear?
Usually a like a Beavis and Butthead response. I get I don't know. I get I don't even know where to start, or I get somebody just on their cell phone doing something else.
Yeah. So yeah, I I usually get a, well, we want to increase visibility, something general like that. And that's
Yeah.
great. And if that's your true goal of just increasing visibility, done. Consider it done. We can do that. But what they really want is not to increase visibility. It's to drive more sales leads, make more placements, drive more bottom line. So I always ask probably two, three, four probing questions to really get down to, all right, what does increased visibility really mean? And as you're planning for 2024 and you're looking at your marketing investment and how this is going to impact and drive sales and recruitment for your organization, I think we really need to dig in and drive more specific and measurable company goals. So I'm going to run through a quick example, and this is what we do when we train our internal team too. When we're kicking off a marketing initiative, we need to dig deeper so that we can prove ROI and we know what ROI we're trying to achieve with our marketing. So I'm going to use a really basic example. Let's just say our goal as a small staffing company is that we want 20 more people out on assignment. Okay. So doesn't seem like an unrealistic goal at all. We want 20 more people out every single week on assignment. So in order to use this, we need to work backwards on the math and we need to quantify. Okay. So if we're doing any type of marketing investment, we need to do this math so we can determine what we actually need to do, what metrics we need to hit, and whether what we're doing is successful to help us reach our goal. So I'd encourage you to do this real quick. And again, these are simple numbers. Yours are going to hopefully be bigger than this, but you know, one question I ask is, all right, we want 20 more people out on assignment. It's your average client. How many people do you have working at an average client? Let's just say they have two people working at an average client. Okay. Well, then they need 10 more clients. Let's say they have five people working at an average client. Then we only need five. But let's do the math. Let's determine how many actual new clients we need to hit our financial goals. And then we need to work backwards further. All right, I need to know what your close ratio is. So when you're actually out and you've qualified somebody as a prospect, your salesperson has met with them, you're out on an appointment, you're going through the sales engagement. What's your close ratio? Let's say it's 25%. So every 1 out of 4 people that you meet with on an appointment, you close, you get that order, they do business with you. Okay. That means I need 40 appointments to hit my goal of 10 new clients. Okay. But even that's not enough. We need to dig deeper. I need to know what your follow up to appointment rate is. So you're closing 1 out of 4. How many people do you have to reach out to? How many cold calls do you need to make? How many messages or how many different companies do you need to target so that you can get 40 appointments? Let's say our follow up to appointment rate is 10%, which would be pretty darn good. Then we need to target at least 400 companies to get 40 appointments so that we can get 10 clients. Okay. So we need to do that math up front so that we can better set our marketing budget. We can better set our target list. We can better set our metrics, and we can track that all the way through the process to make sure that our math is correct and make sure that we're doing the right things to hit our financial goals. And where I see most companies fail is they don't do this math up front. So we get to, July, August, November, and we're like, man, we're not on track to hit our company goals. Why not? It might be that we weren't doing the right things up front. So make sure that you do this math. Let's figure out how many companies you need to target, how many appointments we need to generate, how many clients we need to get, and then we can adjust as we go. And the reason that I said we might need to target at least 400 companies is because of what we're seeing in the market. We might find that our follow-up to appointment rate was historically 10%. Now it's only 5% because not that many people are hiring or actively looking, or there's more competition. We might find our close rate on appointments drops 25%, drops a little bit below 25%. We might need more than 40 appointments. On the flip side, we have a rock star salesperson that has an amazing close rate. Maybe we don't need as many appointments. So all of those things factor into how we structure our marketing approach. Now, Jeff, I'm going to pass it over to you to
Mhm.
talk about the marketing approach. And I think we've got a great chart here. So walk through where marketing really plays a role in the sales and business development funnel.
Yeah, I think that, I mean, when you look at this pyramid, and I know we've shown this pyramid, I'm sure multiple times over the years, is at the top is that sales and recruiting. So that's your go to market. And I think, again, you can't go to market if you don't have direction, if you don't have targeting, if you don't have messaging. So that's, those layers below it where it's the we help here, that's where marketing fits. That's kind of the lane that we're in. So we start with messaging. We start with, your website as being that online showcase. We start with the collateral that we use. And we put all these pieces together, the integrated direct marketing, and we give you the tools and really the script, the sales sheet to basically feel confident and be more effective in when you go to market. And that's should marketing be in the yellow in the sales and recruiting? No, not necessarily. Should marketing be closing deals? No, but could marketing help? And I would almost invert that yellow to say that getting the feedback from sales, from the recruiters, that's almost as important as what we do to support the sales and recruiting function, because we want to know what's working. Because again, this whole putting your messaging together, doing your website, that is all living and breathing stuff. Like, it's going to change. Like, your messaging may change. You may pivot to a new vertical. You may find an opportunity with a client that you never thought you'd have, and you've got to be able to there's a real opportunity there with other clients, and what do you need to do? So this marketing engine that we want to call it is really sitting in between there, and it really all starts with having those core values and that mission. And we talk a lot about that. That's your branding. That's your who you are, why you exist. And that is probably, obviously it's the foundation of this pyramid, the most important thing you can do, for a variety of reasons. I don't know, Brad, if you want to add anything to this
Yeah,
pyramid.
I was just going to say that, when I get that question, what aren't we doing that other staffing companies are doing? I think a lot of it does tie back into those core values and the mission, and then the messaging. So when I'm working with a client, oftentimes, we want to jump ahead. We want to get up to the top level of that pyramid because that's where the
Yep.
revenue is, right?
Yep.
But if we don't nail our core values and our mission, and we don't nail our messaging, then we're behind the eight ball. We could have the best marketing process in the world, but if the messaging is inaccurate, if the messaging doesn't align with the buyer, then it's not going to work. So, I think it's extremely important to nail down core values and mission and help that drive your messaging. And that's where we have to start. And it's not just in the marketing department, it's across the entire organization. It's everyone that is client facing, it's everyone that's working behind the scenes. We need to make sure that everyone in the company understands the core values and the mission of the organization. We also have to make sure that the core values and the mission of the organization align with what the buyer wants, or clearly conveys the value that you offer. So when you get to messaging, we really want to start with key differentiators. We really want to get down to your value proposition. We will really want to get to key points of differentiation. One of the slides at the beginning of the presentation showed that small businesses, I think only 23 or 24% of them were hiring. All right, why in the world would they work with your company over another? It's not just because you provide better service. Everybody says that. So what is the real reason that they choose you over your competitor? That's messaging. What's the why that is important to them? What creates that emotional appeal for them to want to work with you instead of somebody else? And then I think we can get into website sales collateral, IDM campaigns, content, recruitment marketing. But I think it's really, really important that you spend some time on the bottom of that pyramid.
Yeah. Yeah, that's because I've worked with and heard so many say the same thing. You know, we're different because of our service. We're different because of our service. We get the best talent. We get this, we get that. And like number one, nope, everybody else is saying the same thing. So that's not a differentiator. And number two, you're really not talking about your client. You're talking about you. And I think, you know, the magic of the messaging side is to take what you're good at and basically reverse it into how is that going to drive clients to want to learn more
Mhm.
and want to talk to you and actually identify, you know, that they have a problem, you know, and that you can actually solve that problem. And that's the magic of you know, how marketing can use the core values and the mission.
Yeah, we recently went through this exercise with a client, and one of the things they said was of course, yeah, we provide better service. So we asked like three or four follow-up questions on that. All right, what does better service actually mean? Why should somebody even care about better service? And what it boiled down to was this staffing company, the average tenure of their temporaries out on assignment was like 2 to 3 times what their competitors were. So, yeah, it's better service, but you're getting people that work at your organization much longer and are much more productive. They also had barely any drop off on assignments. So once they place someone on assignment, the likelihood of them finishing out that assignment was a damn near certainty. What other staffing companies are going to go into that detail and tell you that? And to Jeff's point, that solves a very specific problem that the company has. They're dealing with turnover, they're dealing with no-shows, and if you have the stats and stories to back it up that yeah, we provide better service and here's what it actually means, you're going to get somebody that isn't walking off an assignment. Once we fill it, people are going to stay. We have the data and we have the stats and we have the testimonials and we have the case studies to support it. It's a much stronger positioning message and value proposition than, hey, we provide better service.
Right, right.
All
You can
right.
use it.
Yeah, I love it. So Jeff, now that we've got let's just say, all right, we've got our messaging nailed down. We've got our value
Yep.
props, we've got our key differentiators, we understand the why, we know what we want to say to the market. How do we use that to increase sales leads? Walk us through the
Yeah.
form.
Yeah. So I think, you know, there's a lot of boxes here. So, well, you know, you know, in our time, in our short time together here, I'll try to summarize as best we can. So again, go back to that, and not really go back, but go back to that yellow part. You know, it's going to market. So we're going to market on the sales side. Obviously, marketing's goal is to drive leads. There are two ways to do this, and I would say in 2024, you want to cover both of these ways. On the orange side, so that's the outbound or the, you know, that's using basically supporting the market or the sales team and how they go to market. This is, you know, again, what we call outbound. It's calling, it's networking, it's helping from the sales process. It's, you know, how they reach out to prospects through, you know, LinkedIn, through email, you know, even our IDM campaigns. You heard the integrated direct marketing campaigns. That's a multi-step process where it's using direct mail, email, calling, LinkedIn. You're looking at your ways that you can, you know, show how you're better, how your differentiators, and that's through the collateral, you know, whether that's pitch decks, that's RFPs, and then also the nurturing side of things. So again, it's putting together, you know, I guess phases or approaches to stay in front of prospects. A lot of times that's through automation. where it's kind of this passive prospect. I know that's what I've been doing a lot with, is that, we try to sell them in a first phase. It doesn't work, but we're going to drip on them afterwards. And then it's focused on, sales tools. And, what are some of the tools that you can use? So is that landing pages? Is that asynchronous selling? Is that video emails? That's a big thing right now, using like, Loom or some of these other, sales video emails that you can use. And then also it's skill marketing. You're seeing a lot of tech players be able to, obviously it's nothing new, but using specific talent based on skills, and using that talent to market and to look for openings or fill openings, and get prospects to talk to you. And all of these things, and it's really cool. Later this month, we have, I think we're going to talk about it, a lunch with Haley around sales kickoff, how to really get your sales team, amped up and for 2024 and what to do. But all of these revolve around outbound, and that means going to market. And from marketing, standpoint, this is just creating the pieces, the processes, and helping with the technology to make sales be more efficient, more productive. On the blue side, the inbound lead gen, that's something that you should also do. And we're going to be talking about this in February in our sales funnel lunch with Haley. But this inbound means they're coming to you. And, to Brad's point of an earlier slide, this talks about what are some ways that you're attracting prospects to you. It's not just going to them and saying, we're awesome, we're sweet, we have the best talent, talk to us. It's really, looking at kind of that ADA model, where it's the attract, the interest, it's awareness, it's trying to drive and let the prospect know that they have a problem, that you are one of those companies that can solve it, and then also here's what you can do to help them out. And so it's really talking around, pulling them into that funnel. You do that through website conversion, so putting a lead magnet out, a checklist, an ebook, something that would gather their interest, and have them download that. And then they're in your CRM. You can then talk to them. You can get them, you can send them more information. You can, drip on them with email. It's, staying in front of them by, through SEO, through social media, through blogging, through pay-per-click, and just keeping them in that funnel. And then it's also, events and, OPS or other people's stages. And it's around creating this event marketing approach, and then getting into other people's networks that may be in your same, in the same vertical that your prospect is in. All of this is not selling at them, it's getting them to come to you. And that's that whole inbound approach. And HubSpot is obviously, if you've ever heard of a marketing tool called HubSpot, that's who really promoted, and it's the automation tool that really I guess publicized and drove this inbound approach. But that's really another way that you can drive sales leads, is not get them right away, but get them in your funnel, understand their interest, and then when they're ready, they'll come to you.
Yeah, just one thing that I want to add is that not one of these things is a silver bullet.
No.
I think that's important to drive home. And we get that question a lot, like, hey, what can I do that's instantly going to drive leads? And my answer is, well, all of these things combined, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So, none of these things can be on an island. We need to make sure that we're doing each one of these effectively. And when we're doing these, we also need to think through segmentation and personalization. And I know you're big on that, especially on the automation side, but our messages need to be targeted to the specific buyer that we're going after. So the message to procurement is going to be different than the message to HR, and it's going to be different than the message to the CFO, and it's going to be different than the message to the CTO.
Right. Yeah, you have to, as segmented as you can be, like you need to be that way. I mean, and that's outbound, that's inbound. Like you need to be able to talk the same problems, the same terminology. The better you can do that. I mean, the big phrase I use is riches in the niches. I mean, the better you can niche down your marketing, the more successful it's going to be. And then obviously you got to be consistent. Like these all, again, you don't have to do all these things at once, but these buckets need to have activity on a consistent basis.
Yeah, one thing that I see many staffing companies neglecting is the right side of that inbound lead gen. It's that
Yep.
effective event marketing and OPS other people's stages. So people now want to do business with those that they trust. If you can align yourself with other people and get on their stage and get them to refer you into a business, way easier sale. So part of your marketing effort should also be thinking about, all right, what other companies could we potentially align with that are already selling into or partnering with the companies we want to work with, and do some marketing and relationship building and personal branding with those organizations because it's super powerful.
Yep.
All right. So that's on the sales side. Now we can't forget the recruitment side. So we obviously need to increase job applications. Jeff just mentioned how important skill marketing can be. So if we can get great job applicants in, we can skill market them and generate and create orders in many cases. But we need to think about this across the entire organization. So when I say recruitment marketing, all too often I think people just think of job advertising and posting on Indeed. And that's not all that there is. We need to look at improving our recruitment process and our tools. So a lot of the same tools that Jeff just mentioned tied to automation, texting, video fall on the recruitment side too. So how are we using this technology? How are we using our tech stack effectively? How are we engaging with talent once they're in our pipeline? Over the last several years, that pipeline didn't last too long. Those candidates were getting job offers, and if we didn't place them in some cases within a few hours, they were gone. So, but that doesn't mean that they're never going to be back. So, what can we do across the life cycle of their career to stay in front of them so that when they do have a need for employment, they think about our staffing company? And obviously on the job advertising side, what are we doing to maintain or drive our costs down? What are we doing? Are we using programmatic job advertising or PPC ads to get in front of new audiences that aren't searching for jobs, but might be open to new opportunities? Are we effectively managing our spend so that we're not wasting spend on jobs that we've already filled, that have already been closed? What are we doing on the digital marketing side? So is our website properly optimized to get in front of people that might be might be looking for a new job, but also might just be looking for a raise or ideas on how to deal with issues at work or ideas on how to deal with problems with coworkers. So think about all those precursors to somebody searching for a job. Is your site, your staffing website, optimized for those? Are you solving a specific problem? On the pay-per-click side, search, social, local, are we doing enough to get in front of an audience that isn't out there actively searching for jobs? Are we getting in front of passive job seekers? If all that you're doing is spending money on Indeed, we're neglecting those passive job seekers that might be a higher quality candidate that our clients might be looking for. So PPC can be a great way to get in front of them. I think it's one of the most underused tools in our recruiting tool belt. Are we doing enough on the employment branding side? Do we do any traditional media? And then on your website, have you made it simple, seamless, and easy for people to search for opportunities that they might be interested in and apply? And we'll talk a little bit about CRO, conversion rate optimization, here in a little bit. But are we staying in front of those people and making it easy to work with us? So those are all key things that we need to consider in 2024 so that we're really efficient on the sales side and on the recruiting side. Now I want to dig into a little bit more specifics. So when we think about inbound marketing, and Jeff in that earlier diagram highlighted a lot of things that we can be doing on the inbound side, I want to get even more granular. So I want to think about a digital marketing system that supports your salespeople, makes their job easier, and supports your recruiters and drives more inbound leads and inbound candidates. We're going to start at our core, at our hub, with your staffing website. We need to go through and make sure that we've done conversion rate optimization. Every single page of your website should have a goal. And that goal might be to get them over to your career portal where they can search for jobs and apply. It might be to get them to learn more about your services. It might be to get them to read a case study or a blog post and then eventually get into a submit a job order page. But we want to make sure that our website is set up for conversion. We want to look at where form fills are happening and where form fills aren't happening. We want to look at how easy it is to do business with us. And we want to make sure that every piece of content on our site, every page, directs people to the next action you want them to take. We need to make sure that we have key landing pages that are simple and have a singular action. We want to make sure that we're search engine optimized so that people are finding us. We want to make sure that our website is current, doesn't look outdated, and that there's great integration with our ATS and with our CRM. Again, we need to make sure that we're doing as much as possible to streamline the work that our salespeople and our recruiters need to do, and your website can play a vital role in that. Our website can't just be a brochure. We need to make sure that we're adding good quality content there. That can come in the form of blogs, articles, white papers, different video. It could be podcasts. It could be rich media, a variety of different things. I mentioned earlier that people want to do business with those that they trust. Before they even give you the opportunity to talk, they're going to have a preconceived notion of you because they're going to your website and they're looking at all of this. What does your website say about you? What does it say about your people? Are you building trust? And are you opening yourself up for the opportunity to even pitch them to begin with? And your content and website can play a vital role in that. Mentioned SEO or search engine optimization already. This is going to become extremely important in 2024 and beyond. Not that it wasn't before, but Google is now using AI iterative search. So before anybody even clicks on your website, Google in many cases is serving them up answers already that they've scraped from websites out there. So they don't even need to go to your website to try to find the answer. Google's serving it up in search results. And it's serving up websites that answer questions, that answer queries. Do you have content on your website that does that? I mentioned the precursors to a job or the precursors to hiring. We need to create content around those precursors so that we get in front of potential prospects and drive them over to our website eventually. So think about all of the questions you get in the sales process or in the recruiting process. Create content around that. We need to make sure that we're on local and maps. We need to make sure that we have reviews. We need to build more inbound links, but it really starts with good quality content that answers their questions, their problems, and provides a solution. Mentioned PPC already. I think it's really underserved, but we can focus on keyword buys. We can focus on targeting our competitors. We can look for display ads so that our brand, our logo is plastered everywhere that they look. So anytime they think about a job, anytime they think about hiring, anytime they think about talent, anytime they think about employment, they associate that with your name, your logo, your brand. We need to look at local and map ads, interest and social ads. Very underused tool. Social media. If we're creating all that great content, let's get that out into social and let's push that content back and forth. Let's get people off of social, over to our content, over to our website, over to our jobs, or over to our job order form. Let's do the same thing with email marketing. Email is an amazing way to reach a large audience quickly. But I want to caution you, don't just sell, 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 sell. Provide value. Answer the questions they have. Provide solutions. And refers. What can we do to get on other people's stages? Can we take the white papers that we produce or the thought leadership that we create and get other people, other websites, other publishers, other organizations to syndicate that for us? Can be very, very powerful. And then again, when I get asked the question, what are we doing that we're not doing? It's these two things. It's retargeting ads for PPC and it's marketing automation. I think that if you do this, and I know we have the data to back it up, you're going to 2x your conversion rate. So you're doing all of these things in your sales and recruiting funnel. You're doing all these things in your digital marketing system to get in front of people the first time. But how many times is staffing a first talk sell? It's not. it takes repeated contact. So once you get them in the door, once you get them to engage with your content, we need to make sure that we have PPC retargeting, so our name and our brand follow them around the internet. We need to make sure that we have marketing automation in place so that we can segment that list and reach out to those people effectively. So if you're building a digital marketing system for 2024, make sure that you include these key elements in that. Jeff, let's talk about sales integration. I know we've emphasized how important it is.
Yeah. So yeah, we threw a lot of diagrams at you, and I'm sure you've mastered them all during the time that we talked. But this slide really is if you want to win, or if your goal is to support the sales team, you're a marketer, you're a marketing function, you're an outsourced marketing person. This is the slide where you want to get all this information down. You want to be right. Like, this is how you're going to win in 2024 with really properly integrating marketing into sales. So a couple bullets here. The alignment is crucial. Brad talked about company goals. I think there's also one step below that. So there's company goals. We want to hit our revenue targets. We want X amount more, job orders. We need X or Y amount more clients. Having that alignment and taking that a step down to say, okay, what services or specialties are we trying to grow? Which ones are we not focusing on anymore? Being a part of the sales meeting, being a part of the sales kickoff as a marketing person or as a marketing support function is crucial. Understanding where sales is going to be focused. That's, again, start it now. That's why we did this presentation this month is start that now. Really understand where sales is going to be going, because then you'll know what to do, in fashioning all these different marketing tactics that we're throwing at you right now. Number two, not all leads are created equal. So, that's the biggest problem, is that we as marketers say, all right, sales, we gave you 20 leads. And the usual response is they all stink. And they all, nobody was interested. It's that's a candidate. That's not a prospect, all these things. So if you can get the alignment, know that, okay, we don't have to drive sales leads right away. There's something called an MQL, or a marketing qualified lead. This is someone, again, to that inbound side of the slide that we showed. This is where somebody has an interest in solving their problem. You've provided an ebook, a checklist. Maybe you went to you provided a webinar for them and they attended that webinar around, making sure that you upskill, or that, it's how to create a great engaged workforce. Any of these things that get them into your funnel, that's a marketing qualified lead. What's great about that is they're not ready to buy right now. They are interested in learning more. So you're going to be able to provide that information. So keep dripping on them, put email campaigns together, stay in front of them, PPC retargeting, keep hitting them with those messages. And then you want to get them down to sales qualified lead. That's SQL. And that's where they are ready for a solution. They're looking at you, kid, and they want to know. So maybe they filled out a contact us form. Maybe they responded to an email. And, that's again, those two things are different. And so when we're, us as marketers, when we're saying, hey, we drove a lead, we need to be very precise in whether it was a marketing qualified lead or a sales qualified lead. So really focus on that. If I'm in your shoes as a marketer working with sales, the handoff is crucial. Again, if you serve up leads and they are the wrong leads, or you don't understand where the focus is, you are going to lose your credibility. You're going to lose that trust as a marketing person. And that, I would focus more on that this year than anything else. Alignment equals trust equals understanding. And that's sort of that last bullet point there is filling the buckets. And what I mean there is hitting the right tactics, also hitting the right pieces with marketing to fill those different buckets, whether it's a prospect or a lead, or somebody who's in the sales funnel that may not be ready to buy yet, or a client, and you want to cross-sell or upsell, more orders. You want to talk to them about talent. Having this marketing working at different, in the different buckets is great. It shows that marketing understands the process, and it also understands what it takes to drive a real sales lead. So if I'm in your shoes, this is what I'm focusing on, at least this first quarter to get set up.
Awesome.
So
So I'm sorry to interrupt there, Jeff, but
no,
I know one of the questions up front that we mentioned that we get a lot and a lot of people ask is what's so we understand that side of things. What's the structure look like of your
yeah.
actual marketing department?
So, just hire as many people as possible. It's really simple. Hire the best people. It doesn't matter about payroll. No, I mean, in some way, yeah, I mean, it's true. But if I'm looking at structure, I think that you're not going to be able, especially if you're a smaller staffing firm, to find all you need, in-house. I think a blend of in-house and outsourced partners. There's great experts out there. There are great, tech, tacticians of marketing. There's great reporting. There are people that understand AI. I think a blend is what a marketing structure should be. I
Mhm.
think the marketer has to be the conductor. If you have an in-house marketer, they need to be the director, the conductor. They need to understand how to work with vendors, how to work with sales, how to work with technology, how to work with, just reporting, and really be able to take all that information and then, throw out those directives that make a lot of sense. That's where flexibility plays in. Right now, flexibility is key. You've got to be able to pivot. You've got to be able to really understand what's going on and turn on a dime and get that information necessary. I think specialization is key and could be way overwhelming. And so I get it, but the more specialized in some cases, if you have those people at the ready, that's great. They can help you out. Automation is now a necessity. I did a presentation about 100 automations. It's now a necessity. It's super important. And I think that you just got to do that. And then AI, it's not just using AI. I think if you have a structure, I think incorporating AI into your marketing structure and really the prompting, that's if you can do that correctly, that is gold. Then you're really creating these like chat GPTs, they call them, or AI, what is it? AI co-pilots. And just being able to run the right prompts that deliver the answers that you need. So
Yeah,
that's it. Just real simple.
real simple. Yeah. No, Jeff, you had mentioned, hiring a bunch of people. I find it interesting when I actually talk with people about their overall marketing budgets. Most staffing companies aren't including the actual salaries and benefits of their marketing people in that cost, which is interesting to me. I think you should, especially when you're trying to look at the ROI of your marketing investment. But you
Yeah.
mentioned it earlier, you've got to have a conductor, which is oftentimes your marketing director. Then you need strategists, coordinators, social media coordinators, writers, content creators, automation specialists, like you just mentioned. You need oftentimes somebody to do creative or design or video, website developers, SEO, PPC, rep management, recruitment marketing, data analysts, AI specialists. That person doesn't exist. That's a unicorn. And oftentimes, one of the big mistakes I see is people expecting one or two people in their marketing department to do all of this stuff. So I think it is important to think about what you can do, where AI can have an impact and streamline, where you can use technology and tools to help support your marketing and your salespeople. But then look at a plan for outsourcing. I mean, staffing companies, that's the basis of your business. It's helping organizations look at their core function and outsource everything else and support your internal people. But we don't do the same thing for our own businesses, and I think that we should. So when you're looking at that structure, these don't have to be all individual people or individual seats, but they are roles that need to be accomplished to have a competent marketing function. So make sure you've got somebody in these areas and a specialist in these areas. And if you don't, look to outsource. So now let's transition a little bit and talk about the impact of AI. Jeff, I'll let you kick this one off, and then next slide, I'll get into some things that you could potentially use AI to outsource.
Yeah. So I think, AI is that mystery right now. How do we use it? I think there's a lot of ways. I think from ideation all the way to, creating a strategy to creating messaging and altering the messaging. I think again, it's just a matter of taking a look, and this graph is really nice to showcase kind of all the different ways: planning, research, content creation. AI needs to be involved in marketing. It's just the way it is. And so if you're looking at it, from strategy and creating a strategy, looking at what your competitors are doing and creating summaries of their websites, there's no doubt. And I mentioned the prompting. If you can get that prompting correct, you can use AI to do your market research, to write some of your emails. And again, that's not the finished product. It's all about just using it to get a start. I know for me, I'm not a good writer, and I think being able to edit something is 100 times more valuable than staring at a blank piece of paper. And I think that's really what it is. So curating content, getting blogging topics, you know personalizing some of your content, improving your SEO, automating and putting ideas together for automation campaigns, and then analysis. There's no end, and there will be no end to what AI can do to help make you run faster in marketing. And I would encourage you, if you aren't using it or your marketers aren't using it, start figuring out how AI can be in these different parts of your marketing function.
And Jeff, even just thinking about content development, like let's say you got a great writer in staff, but to your point, it's way easier to edit. Use a tool like Talent Scribe, which Haley Marketing offers, that gets you
Yep.
80 to 90% of the way there on a piece of blog content or a long form article. And then your internal person just became infinitely more productive and profitable. So think
Yep.
about ways that you can integrate these tools. Now, there's some other things that you can do with AI automation, and I won't go through this entire chart, but I think it's a great one because there are certain human tasks that I don't think are going to be replaced. Then I think there's in the purple, human tasks that could be replaced with AI. And then in the yellow or orange there at the bottom are new AI tasks that can help make your organization infinitely more productive. So again, I would go back and kind of revisit this, but look for ways that you can leverage AI, leverage the expertise there, improve productivity, improve performance, and get more done with less effort. So Jeff, let's bring it home here and wrap
Yep.
up. We talked about a lot. What are some key takeaways?
So yeah, we've just added $1 to $2 million in personnel expenses to
Okay.
build your marketing function, and then probably another maybe 10 million in tactics and advertising. So other than that, this is what I would do. I mean, if I'm you, and I do think there's an opportunity to really tighten up your marketing and create that engine, is number one, yeah, make sure your efforts are supporting your business goals. That's the biggest thing right now. Is marketing understand the business goals? What are they? What is the company trying to do? What revenue targets is the company trying to hit? Brad, you were like typing as hard as possible on number two, so I'll let you talk about number two.
Yeah, I think it's really important that marketing leaders understand business. One of the challenges I see, and Jeff mentioned earlier, one of the earliest hires is often like a social media coordinator, and the
Yep.
person that comes in usually is fresh out of college or an intern or somebody that doesn't have deep business experience. And I think it's a mistake. Not that those people can't get there, but you need to make sure that marketing leaders understand business and how your staffing company makes money. Ask those questions. If they don't understand how you make money and how your business operates, how are they going to effectively market your business and support your sales team? So I think it's really important that your marketing team truly understands the financials and business that you're in so that they can recommend the right strategies.
Yeah, I see that a lot with just putting ROI formulas for automation. When I ask about gross margin, average length of assignment, some of those simple things that you can create an ROI formula to say, did the platform actually drive ROI for us?
Mhm.
And if you don't know that, then you're not going to even know if the platform's valuable or the tactic is good. So yeah, that's key. I talked about sales and marketing alignment. If what I'm doing right now is I'm talking to sales. I'm going into their meetings. I'm understanding where the focus, what the deal pipeline looks like. Who are they talking to? Where are they having challenges? All of that can be used for marketing. Brad did a great job of outlining the digital marketing engine. Cover your bases. get digital marketing running. Just start small, get a funnel going, and you'll be amazed to have that consistent marketing and what it'll do for you. Incorporate AI into your marketing team. Definitely pick something. Use AI for something, whether it's creating topics, whether it's rewriting something. Just dabble in there. I particularly use it for early 90s rap songs about marketing. And so I think that's important as well. It does not drive any productivity, but it's important to me. And then Brad, I'll let you finish it up.
Yeah, this is a plug for our podcast, but listen to Secrets of Staffing Success. We just launched a new show that Brad Biley is the host of called Taking the Stage, and his first guest was Dan Mori. And the reason that I added this is because when we were talking about differentiation and your messaging and your positioning, it dawned on me that most staffing companies haven't invested in that messaging and that positioning. And that's one of the things that I really recommend. And Dan really digs into that topic on our latest episode of Taking the Stage. So make sure that you listen to that. Great takeaways. And we'll be bringing on other consultants in the industry. We'll be bringing on staffing owners to speak about what they're seeing in the market, what they're doing to grow their business, what they're doing to grow sales, and how they're overcoming recruiting challenges. So make sure that you go and download that and subscribe. All right. With that said, we're going to open it up to questions. I know we're kind of at our time limit, but Jeff and I are happy to stay on and answer any questions you have. We had a few come in during the presentation, which we'll jump into. You can do that through the little Q&A panel at the bottom of Zoom. Click that, ask your questions, and we'll tackle those. Feel free to reach out to us at info@haleymarketing.com or call us at 888-696-2900. We're happy to chat. Jeff, as I'm loading up questions, you want to talk about some cool offers that we have?
Yeah, so definitely, we've had this out for a while. So CRO, conversion rate optimization. Really, this is a free website review. So if you've had your website for a while, you're kind of like teetering on should you update it? Should you do a complete redo of your website? We'll actually do a 30-point review of your website. So if you go to the URL down right there, sign up. We will go through, we'll look at the site, we'll look and see if it's really, focused on improving and optimizing your conversions, meaning more more applicants and more leads. Definitely help you out and get that in there, go there, fill out your information, and we'll return it back. The next one. So we have a weekly Smart Ideas Weekly is out. It's every Saturday morning, 9 a.m. Eastern. We send you one idea. It's one idea, one actionable idea you can use the next week that's going to help you in sales, marketing, recruiting, or just help you in leadership. I think there's a lot of ideas to make you a better marketer, better leader. So definitely sign up there. What else do we have? Oh, yep. Brad's got Taking the Stage. So if you've download our podcast, you can download the episodes. We've got a ton of great topics. Taking the Stage is the newest one. So definitely go and download those episodes. And then I think, how to crush your sales kickoff. So we're going to have Dan Mori on. So you'll see some emails there. That's going to come out Thursday. So 2 weeks from today at 2:00, he's going to talk about how to crush your sales kickoff, how to really get everybody aligned and really focus on that sales and marketing alignment, and how you can really make 2024 as awesome as it can be with all the uncertainties going on. So any questions, Brad?
Thanks, Jeff. That was great.
Yep.
First question came in. How many touch points does it take for staffing companies to convert someone?
So I heard, it's funny. It used to be 4 to 6.
Mm-hmm.
Then about 3-4 years ago, it was like 8 to 10. I've heard 15 to 18 touch points, which is why, like, when we do any sort of 8 to 10 initial sales, campaign, it's that passive prospect, that next phase that really gets somebody to convert.
Yep.
So I've heard around 15 or so. I don't know what you've heard, if you've heard anything different.
Yeah, I'm leaning more towards that 18 point.
Yeah.
It's becoming tough. We need to stay
Yep.
in front of people. And then, for me, that's on the B2B side, right? On the lead gen side. What about
Yep.
on the B2C side, on the recruiting side, to get in front of a candidate? What do you think?
Jeez, 150. Yeah,
So
I don't know. There's so much clutter.
it,
I think that Yeah, I don't even know. I mean, it's definitely higher. I mean, I kind of get to an e-commerce. I think I remember like looking at an e-commerce statistic, and I think it was something like 25 to 30.
Hmm. I'm,
Um,
I'm thinking on the job seeker side, it's anywhere between one and an infinite amount. And I know that
yeah,
sounds silly to say, right? But it's coming down to what you're actually offering, and
yep,
you're offering a job that they want. So if you don't have a job that they want, it's going to be an infinite amount of touch points. And that's why I think, even if we come into an economic slowdown, it's vitally important that we make sure that we're out there constantly selling, that we're constantly recruiting. So if we can have the best available jobs in our market, then the number of touch points for candidates is going to go down, because we're going to hit them with a touch point that is so amazing, so great, such a great job that they're going to convert. So it's going to come down to the quality of your jobs. That's really going to help drive conversions. And I know that was a little bit vague on the candidate or consumer side, but I think that's reality.
yeah,
With both of those on the B2B and B2C side, though, I want to reinforce that a touch point doesn't have to mean your salesperson knocking on their door, or calling, or cold calling, or bugging them, or dropping something off, or dropping donuts off. It doesn't have to be all of those things. It can be some of those things, but it can also be remarketing ads. It can also
right,
be automation emails, automation texts. The key here is not like, all right, we sent this person 20 touch points, they didn't respond, so they're gone, they're off our list. The key here is, what can we do that doesn't take a lot of time or investment to stay top of mind, to stay in front of these people, to make sure that we are in front of them when their current staffing provider screws up, or when somebody walks off the job assignment. So, yeah, it might be 20 on average, but in some cases it might be 200. In some cases it might be two, and you just hit them at the right time. So, what can
yep,
we do that's cost effective, that gets us in front of people, that doesn't take a lot of human time to do? And then, to your point earlier, Jeff, what can we do looking at the data in automation or the analytics to make sure that when our salespeople are out making calls, they're focused on people that have already had a bunch of touch points, that have already engaged, that are already close to closing. So that's the
yeah. It's
question.
that rising tide lifts all boats type of mentality, and it's it seems kind of like easy, but it's what. And I talked about filling the buckets, and that's just and the candidate life cycle as well as the prospect life cycle. Do we have marketing and activities that are covering all those different buckets, and then do we have re-engagement when somebody sort of slips out of those buckets? If we have those pieces covered, that's just running in the background, and that creates all those touch points that you don't have to manufacture when you're either behind on sales, or you're struggling to get anybody to contact you. All of this is running in the background, and you'll see the touch points just climb in terms of like who you're talking to. And again, you never know when they're going to need you,
Yep.
and that's the whole point, is that you're out there every month or so, and covering that.
Yeah, right place, right time.
Yep.
Awesome. Jeff, thank you so much. I want to thank everybody for staying on a little late for some questions. That was terrific. If there's anything we can do to help, please reach out to us, and be sure to sign up for that next lunch with Haley. Take care, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Jeff, thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, guys, have a great one. Have a great week.
Take care. Bye.
All right, bye bye.